Hi guys, welcome. If you're new here, my name's Nikki. I'm a beekeeper and I make beekeeping videos. If that's something you're interested in watching, hit the subscribe button. If you're one of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back and listening to what I have to say. I really appreciate it. Today we're going to do our week 7 inspection on our newest hive. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I will link them down in the description below so you can go check them out. Our last 2 inspections were pretty uneventful inspections. Lots and lots of brood last week, so I'm hoping I'll get in here and see a lot more baby bees in here. It is a hot one today, so I'm a little hopeful that we're gonna have another uneventful inspection. Well, I'm gonna get my stuff on and we'll get started. So last week, I found a couple guard bees that were a little bit grouchy, so hopefully today we find them in a better mood. And their syrup is done, so I'm going to replace this today. They're going through that feeder about every day and a half. Lots of bees up here. I'm curious to see how many queen cells we're gonna have. On warm days like today, the propolis gets a little sticky. Lots and lots of bees up in this top box. Just scan from my queen really quickly. I don't see her. Just at first glance, it doesn't look like they've drawn out a ton more up here. But there are still a pretty good amount of bees in here. So I'm not seeing anything here on the outer frames. Just scan really quickly from my queen. Nothing drawn out yet here, but pretty good amount of bees over here. So on this back side of this frame, they have just started drawing it out. And on this frame, I have a frame of syrup and some eggs. So here we have a frame of syrup with some eggs there kind of down at the bottom. And on this side, just kind of barely started drawing. I don't see my queen. So far they're very chill today. here. Lots of capped brood on this frame with some capped syrup around the edges. And this side, I've got lots of eggs and some larvae. So the queen is still laying up here in this top box, which is fantastic. So here's a frame of our capped brood. And on this side, we have a frame of eggs and some larvae. So I'm checking these corners to make sure I don't have any queen cups. Sometimes the bees, when you're doing your inspection, will cluster around that queen cup and can make it a little bit difficult to see. I don't see any. Okay. On this side of the frame, I've got lots and lots of capped brood. And some syrup. And on this side, we've got a frame of capped brood, and we have a lot of bees that have emerged off of this frame. And there are new eggs in there. So here we have a frame of our capped brood. And on this side, we still have a little bit of capped brood on there, but those empty cells were capped brood, and those bees have emerged, and there are new eggs in those cells. Still not really seeing the queen yet. And here we have this side of the frame is empty, and this side I've got some capped brood syrup. I do have 3 empty queen cells up here. There's nothing in those. So you can see here on this side, this frame is not drawn out yet. They've just sort of started to draw. And on this side of the frame, we've got a little bit of capped brood, some syrup, and right there we've got a couple of queen cells that are empty. I'm going to double check really quick just to make sure I don't see any eggs in there. And we do not. So as I said before, I don't ever tear those down until I do my entire inspection and see what's going on in the bottom box. We'll just put this back for now. And the rest of these frames look to be empty, but we're going to just double check. So we have here an empty frame. And these appear to be empty too. So again, another empty frame here. Each time I'm just scanning for the queen. And this frame is empty. So I'm going to put this box back together and we're going to take a look in our bottom deep. So again, always check the bottom of your frames here to look for any queen cells that you might have missed. And lots of bees here in this bottom box. I'm gonna go ahead and move you guys closer so you can get a better look. I don't know if I've ever explained this in any of my other videos, but when you're taking your boxes apart and you're going through your frames, you'll see beekeepers always start with this outer frame. And the reason for that is that your outer frames typically have less bees on them than your inner frames, and your queen is more likely to be toward the middle of the hive. Now, when you remove the frames, there's a possibility if you get on those frames that have a lot of bees clustered on them, if we were to go in and just remove this center frame, we are going to roll a lot of bees and possibly roll and kill your queen in that process. So that is the reason why you see beekeepers always start by removing these outer frames first. Let's get out of my way. This is very sticky on hot days. So here we still don't have anything on our outermost frame. Lots of bees on it though. Do have some progress here. So this frame, this was one of the frames that we readjusted last week and put toward the inside. A frame here of pollen and some syrup. Lots of bees, and they have started to draw out this other side. There's a frame here with some pollen and some syrup, and on the other side just started to draw it out. So this frame was an empty frame that we moved inwards, and they just started drawing here. So not much done yet. And this side is still empty. Just a little bit of comb on here. And then this side is empty. So they're not really drawing out as quickly as they were before, but the queen is still laying a lot. So this side we have some capped brood, some pollen, some larvae, and some capped syrup. And on this side of the frame we've got some capped brood. It looks like some brood that has emerged, and some larvae. Always check the very bottom of your frame. Sometimes you get queen cells that kind of hide there at the bottom. So here, this side, we've got some capped brood, some larvae, lots of pollen in there. And this side, lots of pollen, some capped brood, some larvae as well, just with the capped syrup around the edges. Go ahead and just remove this bird comb. So here we have a frame that's got a little bit of capped brood. Got some syrup, some pollen. You don't see any eggs. Yep, there are a little bit of eggs in this frame as well. And on this side we have another frame of capped brood with larvae and eggs. It's a pretty frame. So here we've got some capped brood, some syrup, some pollen, and there are a little bit of eggs in these cells. And on this side we have a lot of capped brood and some larvae and just some capped syrup around the edges. Okay, so this is a frame that was capped brood that have emerged, and we have lots of eggs in the cells now. Just scanning for more queen cups. And this side is very similar. Lots of baby bees that have emerged from this frame and tons and tons of eggs in here. So you see here, these cells this was a capped brood frame last week, and those have hatched and the queen has gone back in and laid eggs in those cells. And this side of the frame is the same. Okay. On this side we've got some capped brood, larvae, eggs in this frame as well. This queen is doing so well. Looking for queen cells here at the bottom. That is not a queen cell. So far I haven't seen my queen yet, but we know she's in here. And this side is some capped brood. We have some eggs, some larvae. So we got new eggs on this side of the frame as well. So here we have some capped brood, some larvae and eggs. And similar on this side. Now if you guys remember back to the first couple weeks with this hive, they barely had any brood in here and they were storing so much syrup. But that has changed and there are tons of eggs and brood in this hive. So it just took the queen a couple weeks, I think, maybe to get into her groove. These frames have a lot of bees. So we had some empty frames on this side, but it does look like maybe they have drawn some of these out. I don't know if anybody else has similar experiences, but I find with the plastic frames, with the plastic foundation, a lot of times the bees just don't draw out that last frame very well. I don't know if that's just me, or if you guys have experienced that. So again, we've got capped brood, we have larvae, we have some eggs in here. Beautiful. And this side, I've got lots of larvae, eggs, and some capped brood. So that is what this side looks like. Another brood frame. And we have this, and again we have these frames have some bees that have emerged. Got a couple coming out right now. That is such a cool thing to watch. So I actually put a video up recently when I was doing an inspection. It was on a different hive, but I did capture them emerging, which is always really cool. Okay, guard bees, I see you. I'm almost done. So this was an empty frame last week that I moved inside, and it is still empty, just a tiny bit. The tiniest bit of comb drawn out on this side. Just a little bit right there at the bottom. But otherwise still an empty frame. Go ahead and look at our last frame. And our last frame, this side is empty. And we have a frame with syrup. It looks like the beginning of a queen cup that they're building. And we have eggs in this frame as well. Just a little bit in the center. So this queen is really laying in any spot that she has open in the hive. And I have not seen her so far, but we know she's in here. So I'm not gonna really go back and worry about trying to find her. And on this side, we've got lots of syrup, a tiny bit of eggs, and see if I can find it. Right here is the start of a queen cup that they're building, so I will just kind of take that down, and I'm going to put these girls back together and then go up into that top box. Hold on, we got an airplane. There's an airport really close to my home, so we get lots of small planes, lots of helicopters. So just going to tear down that beginning of a queen cell. So anyways, I'm going to put this hive back, or this box back together, and then I'm going to go up into that first box, and I'm going to take care of those queen cups up there. Okay guys, that wraps up our week 7 inspection on this hive. Another pretty uneventful hive inspection. I didn't spot my queen on this inspection, but that's okay. There's tons and tons of eggs in there, so I know she's in there or has been there in the last couple days. And they're not acting like a queenless hive. So I don't have any concerns that I didn't spot her. Sometimes that happens. Lots and lots of eggs in here, lots of brood. And if you followed this series and you look back or you remember back, these bees initially stored so much syrup and so much nectar, and they had very, very little brood. So they have really drastically improved, or the queen has improved how much she's laying. I think it just took her a couple weeks to really get the hang of things, but she's doing fantastic. This hive, I have really high hopes that they're going to be really strong through this winter that's coming up. So very, very happy to see that. Did see a couple more queen cups in here. They didn't have eggs in them. We just tore them down. They're continuing to take lots of sugar syrup. I'm coming out every day and a half-ish to refill for them. Overall, they look really, really good. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.